Welcome to the mystery. Maybe you do not know. I am Maria. Wish you a good day. Pyramid, the most mysterious structure of mankind. If one must choose the greatest, most mysterious architectural work of man, surely the Great Pyramid will be an extremely bright candidate. Along with the mummies, the Great Sphinx, the Great Pyramids of Egypt are the favorite subject of films, adventure stories, horror stories. So far, there has not been a formal, complete, and accurate answer to the mysteries of the pyramid. It is no coincidence that in the 7 wonders of the world, the Pyramid of Giza stands at the highest point and is the last surviving remnant to this day. 1. What is pyramid? The pyramid is a common term for pyramid-shaped structures with a square base and 4 sides with an equilateral triangle. In the minds of our majority, the pyramids are only in Egypt, but actually this type of work is everywhere in the world and works of many different cultures. For each culture, the pyramid has its own characteristics and uses. For the ancient Egyptians, the pyramid was a construction and used as a tomb for the king. These are also the most famous and mysterious pyramids in the ancient world. According to history, the king right after the throne, the first thing they do will be to start building the pyramid for himself. In addition, some legends also suggest that the pyramid is where the Egyptians protect their greatest secrets. Next we must mention the Mesopotamian pyramids we call ziggurats. The ziggurat are part of the most sacred temples of the Mesopotamians. The pyramids of American civilizations that stand out as the Mayans used as human sacrifices are also remarkable. In addition, other peoples like Nigeria, Greece, Spain, China, Roman, India, and Indonesia also have their own pyramids with distinct characteristics. However, no other pyramid is comparable in magnitude to the works of the Egyptians, so in this article we will refer to the tombs of Pharaoh. 2. Why is the Pyramid of Egypt so secretive? If the pyramids of other people almost have an exact answer to the way that the ancients used, separate with the pyramids of Egypt. This is a controversial subject. Pyramids, not to fictitious stories because we have the mystery of the level of scientific and technological development of ancient Egypt. The first point that must be mentioned is that the stoneware is built from blocks of natural monolith. We absolutely do not use bonding materials the way we use cement in modern construction technology. Stony masses of up to 10 tons can be chiseled and grafted together in an incomplete fashion, ensuring a solid, perfect and lasting moment. These stones are linked together based entirely on their weight. In fact, the largest and the most famous pyramid of Egypt today has survived for less than 5,000 years. Be aware that this stone is not always taken near the pyramid, but in some cases it must be transported from locations hundreds or even thousands of kilometers away. At the same time, the way that the Egyptians turned these tons of heavy rocks into exact places to complete the pyramid was a mystery. In addition, the pyramid also demonstrates that the Egyptians already knew the number pi, a constant that Archimedes later considered the man who had discovered it. The pyramids always have a very good size ratio based on the calculation of pi. For example, the pyramid Cheops, if we take twice the height divided by that area, we get pi. This is considered to be the standard and the most effective rate for building such architectures. In addition, the pyramids are so delicate that even grafts are made from large blocks of stone, but we cannot even insert a sharp blade between 2 stone slabs. At the Cheops pyramid, the height difference between the opposing sides is less than 2 centimeters, the most horrific accuracy in Egyptian conditions without precise instrumentation. The next is how Egyptians understand the effects of heat and some of the elements that until now, science has not been able to clarify. The space inside the pyramids is believed to ensure perfect conditions in temperature, humidity, to help preserve the pharaohs in a good and perfect way. Finally, the astounding understanding of the astronomical constellations and excellent orientations of the Egyptians must be taken into account. Just by observing the stars, they were oriented almost exactly. The error was less than 3 degrees. 3. How is it built? First of all, it must be said that the actual construction of a pyramid is an unsolved mystery. All of the things we mentioned here are just the assumptions that scientists think are the best way to build them. First, let's talk about the unifying scientific points of the way the pyramid builder handles things. These great works are always started by the pharaohs as soon as they ascend the throne, and it will take tens of years to complete a pyramid. During this time, a huge workforce would be mobilized by the kings of Egypt to build their tomb. In general, the number of employees depends on many factors: food, weather, war, but is said to range from 20,000 to 100,000 people working continuously. This number of workers will often be replaced by the construction of the pyramid, which is a laborious and exhausting work for the slaves. According to the documents available, an average worker can only serve for about 3 years as a maximum. The material used in the Cheops pyramid is taken primarily from a quarry not far from the pyramid. However, the outer layer of the pyramid must be taken from the Turo River to the pyramid building. Each block weighing between 2.5 and 8 tons was moved across the river, hundreds of kilometers, to reach the construction site. This process, amazingly, completely utilizes humans. In addition, granite must be taken from Aswan, a site about 935 kilometers from the site. It is estimated that moving a rock takes about 2 months. Of course, the Egyptians could not drag these tons of heavy rocks for such a long distance. In addition to being extremely labor-intensive, these trimmed blocks will be severely damaged. To solve them, they use wooden sliders, pulled by ropes to the site. Of course, even so, the effort put away to move a rock is also great. 4. Take the stone up. This is the most controversial step in the process of building a pyramid. Remember, it is important that the Egyptians at the time did not have modern machinery to support. Even now, about 4,000 years after the completion of the pyramids of Giza, lifting heavy rocks weighing tens of meters to the tens of meters is still a challenge. So why, 4,000 years ago, people, specifically the Egyptians, have done it? The first, simplest hypothesis, however, I find myself to be unrealistic, is that the ancient Egyptians used cranes and pulleys to put the blocks up. This assumption would be reasonable if the pyramid was built of brick or smaller stone slabs. As for the pyramid, putting heavy blocks of about 2.5 tons seems to be rather difficult. First of all, if using a single pulley, we would have to provide a gravitational equivalent of it. An average of 2.5 tons of stone, and if every worker has a hand force of 100 kilograms, we will need at least 25 people to pull a stone. Of course, this is an acceptable number. However, will 25 of them have the strength to pull the stone continuously? In addition, equivalent traction will decrease several times if we use double pulleys, as illustrated below. It sounds reasonable. However, how can we make those pulleys capable of withstanding this tremendous force? Also, take it up then, how to put these stones in place? This assumption seems unreasonable. The second hypothesis, accepted by many scientists, is also more reasonable: the man who built the giant earthen slopes to bring the stones up. These slopes were built around the pyramid and after completion were demolished. These land slopes significantly reduce the force required to move the rock upwards and also allow more people to pull together more easily. In particular, the Egyptians will build a long slope with low slopes from the ground to the under construction of the pyramid. Then, when building higher sections, people will extend the slope to ensure the slope is appropriate to the construction process. To pull the stones from the foot of the slope up, people use rounded logs to reduce friction. Teams of workers with varying numbers depending on the size of the stone will be mobilized in turn. The higher the length of the ramp, the longer it will take, and the work of the workers will be harder. However, luckily for them, the number of rocks on the higher day will be less and less. According to calculations, up to 96% of the material is used in the bottom third of the tower. Of course, not only is a single ramp used, but building a pyramid, if not, will take 100 years. In addition to the 2 or 3 main slopes used continuously, they also build sub and minor ramps to carry as many stones on the pyramid as possible. 5. Build and complete. After putting the stone on high, the workers will put the stone in its place. The rocks are linked together based entirely on their gravity. The Egyptians do not have to use any kind of bonding material. Depending on the pyramid, the order of placement of the stones, they will create different internal structures. In general, the architecture inside the pyramid always points to a common point of creating virtual corridors for the king's soul to reach the stars. After completing placing the stones to create the shape of the pyramid, the Egyptians will proceed to elaborate the outside and inside of the pyramid until it is complete. Scrutiny is done from top to bottom. They will remove the bulge out of the pyramid face, the slopes are removed, the inside of the pyramid will be inscribed. The pyramid and the process of its completion is still the pride of the Egyptians. The greatness and miracles of the Great Pyramid show the level and creativity of the Egyptians. So far the mystery, in the process of building it, is still a big question of humanity. Thank you for watching the video. Please like and subscribe to follow other videos. Goodbye and see you again.